in an actual football game, like everybody else is looking to you as a quarterback. If you can't take that pressure, I mean, truly I don't feel that pressure, but a lot of quarterbacks do. And if you can't like take that pressure and accept it and go out and be a quarterback, then I mean, you aren't really a quarterback.
You aren't really a quarterback. Dean Legge from Dog Post making you a smarter Georgia fan. Incoming freshman quarterback Carson Beck will fight for the starting job and snaps when he slips on silver britches for the first time this fall. Beck signed with Georgia after a stellar high school career in Jacksonville.
I kind of feel like I always play with a chip on my shoulder, even though I might be ranked high, but I mean, at the same time, I don't want to stop until I'm at the top.
So what makes Carson Beck special? I asked mentor and coach Bobby Ramsey.
What makes him, unique is, he's very level-headed. He's pretty humble. But he has a confidence about him at the same time. He believes in his ability and what he can do, and I really think his love of preparing. He really enjoys the stuff that goes into making you a quarterback. He's not just a guy who's going to take the football and go out there and fling it around. I mean, he's going to do everything he needs to do off the field, from the film study standpoint, from the training standpoint, to make himself the best he can be.
Getting to the top was something Carson Beck achieved in 2018, winning the state title in Florida's largest classification. It's something that Ramsey credited Beck for having a huge hand in his junior season.
What they saw him do in the most important games, I think what they saw him do in the playoffs, when the most pressure was on, when going up against some of the teams he went up against, I think seeing what he did in those games was probably what separated him. He wasn't just doing it against competition where we were just far better than, or we had a difficult schedule. And then what he did in the playoffs, the state championship game, 5 touchdown passes. You do that on that kind of stage, I think is really what sets you apart.
So what about Georgia coach Kirby Smart? Here's what Carson had to say about him.
Obviously brilliant when it comes to football. More of a defensive-minded guy, and he has a great personality. He truly, the first time I ever met him, I felt like I connected with him immediately. And he's always checking up on me, always texting me, seeing like what's up. And a lot of coaches feel like they just don't have the time of day to do that. And him doing that like really means a lot to me, and obviously other commits and other players that are getting recruited by Georgia. But he truly is just an amazing coach, I feel like, and especially with that defensive side of mine, we'll go into that. Obviously going into Georgia, with that type of coach who has that much knowledge about a defense, even if I'm not named the starter day one, every day in practice I'm going to be playing against some of the best guys in the country and seeing things on defense that you might see against an Alabama or a Clemson, like that type of stuff. So I definitely feel like baseball helped me a lot with that, like kind of like I talked about earlier, like with I just struck out in 3 pitches my first at bat, and now I have to come back up again. And a lot of kids are in their head, they're like, oh, I just struck out in 3 pitches, but really you got to change your whole mindset and think, I just blasted a double off the wall. And like say I were to throw a pick and it wasn't on me, say it's not on me, I just go to the player, I'm like, hey, that's on me. Like I get their attention. I'm like, that wasn't your fault, that's my fault. I take responsibility for it, so then they're good. But in my head, I know like that was an amazing throw. They just tipped it up in the air and intercepted it. So I'm like, we're good. Like we're about to go drive down the field. That's kind of like my mindset.
What about being great? How do you pick your teammates up?
No, I feel like when I play, I feel like I am the best player but I never tell myself you're the best player on the field. Like hyping myself up. I don't rarely ever feel the need to do that. But when I step out on the field, like there's just a different mindset, and kind of like what I talked about playing quarterback, you have to have a different mindset. And I feel like there's also like these loud rah-rah leader guys, and there's not a problem. If you can do it, you can do it. And then there's like your super quiet leaders. But I feel like as a quarterback, you could truly be anywhere in the range. Me personally, I'm more of like when we like need like someone to get like turned up like right now, then I'll get in someone's face. But truly, I feel like as a quarterback, you just got to know like all your players and not be so self-centered. because if one person messes up, they might not take yelling at them the same way as the other wide receiver might.
Before he was a college football player, Carson Beck started playing the sport at a young age.
I was 6 years old, and it was for like a local Pop Warner team here in Jacksonville, and I was so afraid of getting hit. So I was beyond scared. But you know, my dad got me right, kind of taught me that getting hit isn't all that bad. And the first time that I actually ended up playing in a game, I was playing running back, so I mean, you're getting hit like every single play. And obviously I'm 6, so it's not really a hit, it's more of like a love tap and fall to the ground. But I learned that getting hit and pads are there for a reason. So.
The Jacksonville native cannot wait to play in the world's largest cocktail party.
Oh, absolutely. Obviously, I've gotten a lot of hate from Florida fans, but that's okay. I'm not going to go too in-depth about that because I understand why, but it's my decision at the end of the day. And I go to that game every single year too, but actually getting like the opportunity to play in that game after watching it as a little kid and actually going to the game, to growing up every single year watching the game, and actually being able to play in that stadium against a team who is going to probably be booing me when I step out onto the field, I feel like that's like when I'll perform my best.